Come, have a seat in the Skald circle and hear the tale of how the Cobbler cheated the devil, as told by Mynogan. Before we begin our tale, did you know that we release new stories for free every week on Wednesdays? Be certain to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, Podbean, or whatever your favourite podcast app is. That way, you'll never miss out when we release free bonus stories other days of the week. Never forget, visit thescaldcircle.com to stay up to date with all of our current happenings, and to also visit our story archive, sorted by origin and region. Now then, this begins a tale of how the Cobbler cheated the devil. It chanced that once upon a time, long years ago, in the days when strange things used to happen in the world, and the devil himself used sometimes to walk about it in a bare-faced fashion, to distract of all good and bad folk alike, he came to a very small town, where he resolved to stay a while to play some of his tricks. How it was, whether the people were better or were worse than he expected to find them, whether they would not give way to him, or whether they went beyond him and outwitted him, I do not know, and so cannot say. But sure it is that in a short while he became terribly angry with the folk, and at length was so disgusted that he threatened he would make them repent their treatment of him, for he would punish them in a manner which should show them his power. With that he flew off into a fury, and the folk, knowing with whom they had to deal, were very sad, thinking of what terrible thing would overtake them, and at their wits' end to imagine how they might manage to escape the claws of the evil one. Accordingly, it was decided to call a meeting of the townsfolk, to which all, old and young, should come to deliver their opinion as to the best course to be pursued. Only those too old to walk, the sick and the foolish, being not called into the council. Very many different courses were proposed, and while these were being debated, a man rushed into the hall where the council was being held, and informed them that the enemy was coming, for he had himself seen him making his way into the town, bearing on his shoulder a stone that was almost big enough to bury the place under. He reported that the devil was yet a long way off, for his load hampered him sadly, and he could not travel fast. What to do the councillors did not know, when suddenly there came amongst them a poor cobbler, whom they had forgotten to call to the meeting, for he was indeed looked upon as only half-witted. "I will go and meet him," said he, "and stop him from coming here." "You stop him," cried they all. "It's mad, you must think of it." "I'll go the same," said the cobbler, and without saying a word more, he goes out and begins to make ready for his journey. First of all, he collected together as many old boots and shoes as he could find, and when he had got them all in a bundle, he finds out the man who had seen the devil coming, and inquires of him the way that he should go to meet him. The man told him the road, and the cobbler set out. He walked and walked and walked, till at last he came to the devil, who was sitting by the roadside resting himself and trying to get cool, for the day was warm, and he was nearly worn out with carrying the big rock which lay beside him. "Do you know such and such a place?" asked he of the man, naming the town he would be at. "I do indeed," says the man, "for I ought to, seeing as I have lived in its neighbourhood for these many years, and have only left there to travel." "And how many days have you been getting here?" asked the devil anxiously, for he had hoped he was near the end of his journey. "Oh, well, days and days," replies the man. "See here." And he opens his bundle of old boots that he had ready. "See here," says he. "These are the boots I've worn out on the hard road in coming from the place." "Have you indeed?" says the devil, looking at them amazed, little thinking that the man was lying as he showed him pair after pair, all in holes and shreds. "Well, indeed, it must be a long way off." And he looks around him and then at the rock, and thinks what a terrible long way he has to bring it, and he begins to doubt whether, after all, since he's got so far to go, it's worth all the trouble. "If it had been nearer," says he. "It would have been a different thing, and I would have shown them what it is like to treat me as they did. But, as it's so far off, it's another matter, and I don't think it's worth the trouble." So he just takes up the rock and flings it aside into a field, and goes off back again. So the cobbler came home, and told all the townsfolk what he had done, and how he had cheated the devil. And I can assure you that they all admired his cleverness, and the joke of tricking the devil as he had. Nor did they allow him to lose in consequence of missing his day's work. And that is the tale of how the cobbler cheated the devil. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, please take a look at our Patreon page to learn how you can earn great rewards while also supporting us. We appreciate even the smallest of contributions, as they allow us to continue to release new stories every week for free on Wednesdays, and also provide you with bonus stories for your listening pleasure. Visit us at thescaldcircle.com to view our story archive, sorted by origin and region, and to stay up to date with all of our current developments. Once again, thank you for listening to our story.